Hi, I'm Mick Fleming. I'm the president of the Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. And we've been putting together over the last few months a thing we call the Horizon Initiative. And it's a look at the 8 influences that we think will most impact chambers over the next 10 years. We tried to come up with a definition of what Chambers 2025 would look like. We tried to define what it is that you'll all be doing. And we didn't have any way to do that. We don't know what a beach community with a chamber with 2 staff people and the Philadelphia chamber with 102 staff people, what they will both be doing. We don't know. But we do know that there are influences that will affect every chamber. And that's what we tried to come up with. Anybody who tries to come up with what chambers will be doing in 10 years will be wrong as much as they're right. So we had to try to narrow the focus and yet possibly expand the notions that we brought into the discussion. And that's what we came up with. We had a great task force. We had input from hundreds of people on this project. And research work done by folks like Gallup and Zogby and Pew. And we brought it all together to make the case. We hope you find these 8 influences pertinent to your work and helpful in planning where you go next. So 8 influences. The first one we came up with was an examination of belonging and gathering. These are the 2 things that in chamber world have always been tied closely together. Belonging and gathering, membership and participation. We think both of those will change in the coming years. The second one we took up was the idea of technology, but not just any technology. Technology as it relates to communications, because chambers are in the information world. You're information providers. And when there's a revolution in communications, you're going to be part of it. The third one is this notion of scarcity and abundance. How the supply and access to resources and people and talent and opportunity and regulations and all other factors will influence the relative scarcity and abundance, the prospects for victory and failure, for prosperity or difficulty, will all be shaped. The fourth of the influences is the global impact that will hit all of our communities. We've always had an interest in trade. Chambers have been, many of them were founded on the idea of working on helping companies and regions trade. But now global impacts are going to be hitting at the local regional level. The fifth of the influences deals with the composition of populations. Some people call it demographics, but we think that mix, that composition is more important than the strict data on how many of each kind of person there will be. It's more about how it's all going to come together, and that will influence chambers. The sixth one has to do with social and political fragmentation. We thought a definition that related to polarization might be adequate, but it's not. Our social and political fabric are fragmented. And what opportunities does that present for chambers as opposed to just fear and loathing? The seventh is the idea that chambers' resources, their revenue, and their mission must be closely tied together, much closer tie than they've had in the past. And the eighth, and probably the most important, is the concept that leadership, both professional leadership and corporate volunteer leadership, are very likely to shape not just the success of your chamber, but the prospects for prosperity in your community.